Welcome back. Another GM Facepalm episode a year later. Welcome. Been gone for quite some time there. I do have some races to feature in upcoming episodes, videos, whatever. Reason for the absence, mostly working 55 hours a week. Sometimes, a few times it was 96 hours a week. So that's kind of delayed a lot of things. Also trying to get through Iron Gods, which I finally got through. Dealing with some problems, specifically with a player. Even debating on stopping my game, stopping the GM role. But reluctantly, I've taken up Hell's Rebels Adventure Path. So I'm going to try and finish that one now. I've done Jade Regent, Curse of the Crimson Throne, and now Iron Gods. Now with the mission of Hell's Rebels in mind. But anyway, I'm not here for that today. Homebrew races. Today it was a video request from Kenpatchi Ramasama, so we're going to do that. Cyclops as a available PC to your facepalming table as we deliver more frustrations, more options. Through the help of the Advanced Race Guide. In the back of the book there is a section called the Race Builder. And from there is a system in there which aspires to give you some sort of system to sort of create your own races using some sort of balance, sort of scale to it. Some people don't think it works, other people think it does. Obviously, I keep doing these, so it definitely works for me. Wouldn't be able to do these without this setup. So, Cyclops today. We're going to delve into that. The ratio points, the total amount for this race is similar to the Trox. Keep in mind the Trox is an available PC race now in Bestiary 4, is it? They are 28 racial points, and they are a large race. So large races are becoming available. Whether or not we'll see more of them, who knows. But anyway, let's add a few more on there. My previous videos do showcase some large races, but today we're going to go with the Cyclops, and that is large in size. Total cost of 26 racial points, so it's pretty good. Being that it is a monstrous race in power, with its racial points in mind, I usually suggest for balance-weary GMs out there, anything over 20 RP, racial points, I would suggest if it's going to be a 20-point buy game, make those that are 20 RP and above, make them 15 RP. Or, sorry, 15 point buy cost. So as far as selecting your ability scores and such, give them 15 points to use. If it's going to be a 15-point buy, then have the monstrous power races start off at 10. So some sort of balance there, maybe an illusion of. I haven't had any problems. I've had some people in my group play monstrous races, even ones that I've created, and haven't really had an issue, namely with a Gearsman in the Iron Gods AP. But in the Race Builder section, they do talk about, for challenging, advanced, and monstrous races, you can add up the total racial points and get the average, and then from there you can scale or calculate what the CR should be. So usually it could be one level higher and such, depending on if you have a higher RP party. So keep that in mind. Anyway, Cyclops. I'll post most of the info here so I do not bore you to death with going through all the stats and stuff that you can usually just pick up a lot faster through the text in the bottom of the video here. But just to go over a few things here. Cyclops. If this is going to be in a Pathfinder realm, if you're going to use, Galarian, I read over the Cyclops' ecology, and there's some really interesting stuff there. About how there were kingdoms of glories in past ages, but now they are sort of cursed, devolved from what they once were. So that's really interesting. So going off of that fluff, I have the crunch. So I made some racial traits that go off of its history and their current state. So keep in mind, the Cyclops is a single, huge eye that stares from the forehead of this 9-foot-tall giant. The cursed orb holds the destiny of kingdoms and glories of lost ages. Now, as far as a PC, you can put in there that there are a rare few that can aspire beyond the monsters they have become today. So, these are ones that are emerging, perhaps evolving from their devolved state. So I gave them a +4 to strength, +2 to constitution, and a -2 to charisma. So they're wickedly strong, hardy, but terrifying to behold. They are large in size. So from the large trait, then you can add your +2 size bonus of strength, and your -2 size penalty to dexterity, and then there's the other stuff that goes along with it as far as the AC and CMD. Normal speed. They are of the subtype giant. I gave that a 2 RP cost because with the giant subtype that includes low light vision and then having the intimidate and perception always considered as class skills, regardless of what kind of giant you are. So I added that in there, which was not listed as a value in the book. They got ferocity. Now, the one thing I really want to talk about here, Cyclops, they have an ability that goes back into their ecology, back to their history of kingdoms and glories of old. It is a special quality. It is a supernatural ability, where it's called Flash of Insight. Once per day, as an immediate action, a Cyclops can peer into an occluded visual spectrum of possible futures. Gain insight that allows it to select the exact result of one die roll before the roll is made. This effect can alter an action taken by the Cyclops only and cannot be applied to the rolls of others. So they can see into the future and glean the exact die roll. I have made the crunch for that. And I enhanced it a little bit, and I gave it a racial point cost of 3, so it's 3 RP for the cost, but I gave a hindrance to that based on their history, based on their past. And my Flash of Insight is also known as Flash of Insight / Madness. Once per day, as an immediate action, Cyclops can choose the result of the die roll instead of rolling its next attack roll, saving throw, skill check, or ability check. This gift of prognostication comes with an unwary madness. Each time this ability is activated, there is a 20% chance the Cyclops becomes confused for 1 round, and the choice of the die roll is lost. So there's a little bit of flavor there, a little bit of a chance. Yes, they can pull out that ability, use it once per day, but there's that ability, or I should say that curse, as listed in their ecology, where they can go mad. So there's that. Also, their stats as far as the bestiary goes, or bestiary, they don't list. Well, they talk about how they have a accursed hunger, ravenous hunger, and that's like the forefront of their thoughts. That's all that they worry about. Just as far as your devolved state. So I put a racial trait in there that deals with that, called Accursed Hunger. Cyclopses possess monstrous appetites that consume a great deal of their focus and destiny, gorging on a full day's worth of food sedates them, and the cravings don't start until the next day. But if sufficient food is not available each day, then starvation will begin the following day. So keep that in mind. Just going back to that Flash of Insight Madness. If that ability is too powerful for you. I really don't think it is, since it's just a one-off. But if it is powerful, you can always go with True Strike. You can throw that in there. So there are ways around it. But I tailored it to where there's a pro and a con. So what really comes out in the flavor of this race is the alternate racial traits. I went with a lot of divination on this, being that their eye has sort of a Nostradamus to it. So I got Cyclopean magic, Eye of the Beholder, and then if you want, since they are of the giant subtype, going more into their monster state of mind, they could have thrown their lot in with the other giants and took up the ability for rock throwing and rock catching, so there's that. I thought it was a little strange that it's not in there, because all the other giants can do it, for the most part, I believe. So I gave them the option for that, where they moved away from that wariness of trying to even tap into the glories of what could be with their destiny, with their one soul eye. So I moved away from that. If they wanted to be more of a feral state, they could do the rock throwing and rock catching. So there's that. Cyclops is that slowly emerge away from their tribe and join a group. I added a storyteller aspect where they can tell stories, trying to bring the players into that storyteller aspect to roleplay. So there's a trait for that where they can come up with stories of the Cyclopean age. So there's that option. There are a slew of feats added to this, none of which are my own. These all come from Giant Slayer AP, so I can just slap this on the description of the video here or within the comments. You can take a look at all those, but all of those are listed in the Giant Slayer AP Book 1. I think after page 55 or something, you'll see a bunch of stuff introducing or giving an introduction into the various types of giants, giving you how tall they are and how much they weigh. So you can definitely take a look at that. There's some feats in there. So I posted most of those here. They also introduced giant bags of holding. So if you want to go with like a type 4, type 5 or a type 6, that has a lot more cubic content there. You can definitely do that. You can construct your own giant bags, maybe. But also there's an archetype in the Inner Sea Monster Codex on page 17, known as the Cyclopean Seer. It's a Oracle class archetype, so you can definitely take a look at that. So there's a lot of flavor, either going into the Giants Revisited, whether that's a player companion. I think it's either a campaign or a player companion book. Anyway, Giants Revisited, there's quite a bit of lore on the Cyclops there, I believe. And then you can also look at Inner Sea Monster Codex, where they feature a section for the Cyclops. So definitely take a look at that. But even just looking at the bestiary listing for Cyclops, there's a lot of great info on there. So the player can really build up a backstory for that character. So that's all I got. As I said, I'll post all this on here. Thank you, Kenpatchi. This was a pretty cool build. A lot of my players in my group actually like this flavor text of this race. It works. It works well. You can definitely pair that with the Trox, and you'll be fine. So, anyway, thank you for watching. And there will be more videos to come at some point here. And not a year later. See ya.